So we are streaming. We are streaming.
Okay, thank you.
There's no clicker. Say next slide. Next slide.
Awesome. Okay. It's funny to hear your own voice. Hey. All right, am I all set? Okay, so well, good morning, everybody. Thank you. So I can spill my coffee. Is that the position? Okay, working. Right. Oh, well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us here at the Digital Innovation Pavilion. I'm Natalia Machado. I'll be moderating the panel. Let's see. I guess it's the position I'm holding it. So today we're joining the nature-based solutions, the power of artificial intelligence as a driver of the transition to sustainable food systems. As we all know, global agriculture is under pressure from climate variability, biodiversity loss, and the need to produce more food with fewer resources. AI is emerging not only as a tool for efficiency, but as an enabler of healthier ecosystems, better decisions, and more resilient landscapes. Today, we'll explore how agribusiness, robotics, policy, and financial innovation can work together to unlock this transition. And we have a fantastic lineup of speakers here to do that. And I'd like to start by introducing our panelists. We have Giuliano over there. Thank you for coming. He is the director of the Institute of Agribusiness Studies at ABAG, which is the Agribusiness Association from Brazil, one of the leading voices shaping the future this morning. We've got Leo Carvalho, Chief Global Strategy Officer at Solinftec, a global pioneer in autonomous robotics and AI for sustainable food production. Thank you for being here, Leo. And we've got Olga. How can I see your last name? Sitnik. Okay. Wow, that's fancy. I like it. So Olga is the founder and CEO of Awaken, a company pushing the frontier of biodiversity data and nature credit markets worldwide. Thank you all for being here. Well, each one of you take the time for your presentations. We're gonna have, I would say 10 minutes for that, but let's go with our own flow here. I'd like to start with Juliana, who's going to talk a little bit how Abagi has been shaping agriculture here in Brazil. Well, feel free.
Thank you, Natalia. Good morning, everyone. It's so nice to be here. Thank you for the invitation, the opportunity. It's a great pleasure to talk about agribusiness sector from Brazil to a very important audience. So first of all, I'd like to present a little bit more about Brazilian Agribusiness Association, which is the entity that I represent here at Brazil, at COP 30. So first of all, Brazilian Agribusiness Association is a non-profit association in Brazil. It just got 30 years last year, I guess, probably. And the main objective of the association is to actually integrate the national economy with the international economy. So back when it was founded, this was the main objective, but also to integrate all of the chains from the agribusiness sector. Next, please. So this is a summary from the agribusiness sector in Brazil. It's a very long and complex sector. Within ABAG, we represent companies and stakeholders before the gate, as we said. So we are talking about the input company, we are talking about R&D companies. Inside the gate, we're talking about cooperatives, producer farmers associations, and after the gate, we're talking of course about the industry, the food companies, the tradings, the service providers. So we also have technological companies, law firms, and etc. So it's a very representative association. That's the main difference between us and the other associations in the agribusiness sector. So we do have some committees where the main issues from the sector are discussed with our associates, and normally we do, for example, positioning papers and initiatives related to those issues in order to defend the interests of our associates within the government and other important stakeholders that we should anyway address those issues. We do have also two main events. The first one is the Brazilian Agribusiness Congress that has as its main objective to gather all the important authorities, government authorities, academy, and other important stakeholders to address those issues that we normally discuss back in the committees. And the second one is the Agri Show, is the largest fair, technological fair specific for the agribusiness in Latin America and one of the largest in the world. Just to give you guys some numbers, last year we had more than 800 brands exhibited and also more than 70 countries represented and almost $3 billion from business started. So it's a very big fair, it's very important to us, and it was founded also in 1993. I guess that we can go to the next. These are a few of our projects that we normally do in partnership with our associates. So, for example, Agribusiness Woman Awards in partnership with Bayer, and ALMA is Agribusiness Woman Leadership Academy. We do in partnership with FIA. It's an academy, university here in Brazil, very important, very recognized. And also with Forteva, it's an input company. The international initiative, very quickly, it's a very important initiative that we do have with in partnership with Ambassador Roberto Azevedo. He is the former general director from WTO, and our main objective here is just to establish some alliance between Brazil and other tropical agriculture countries, for example, Australia, countries from Africa, China, United States. There has some similarities with our agriculture, so it's a very important that we establish those alliances just to promote a little bit more international speaking the tropical agribusiness good practices, because they are very important not only to mitigate the gases, the emission from gases, but also to adapt to combat the climate change agenda. I guess that we can share after that the presentation, but just a few numbers in order to give you guys some examples of our sites when we think about the agribusiness sector here in Brazil. So we are first, second, third, or fourth place when we think about production and exportations of our commodities. So just to give you some numbers, I'm not gonna go all over it. You can go to the next one, please. And finally, just a little bit more data on the land use. This, I guess, it's not the last version. Probably we do have some less, the updated version this year, but it's more or less like this. So as you can see, we do have a lot of preserved area when we think about the national landscape, considering the land use from Brazil. So more than 60% is areas focused on preservation. So it's a net zero forests and etc. And the other 30% is divided between pastures and crop and agriculture. So it's a very important graphic, because if we go to the next one, we can compare this graphic with the land use from the United States, and you can see the big difference between both countries. So that shows that really Brazilian agriculture is very sustainable, and we can, of course, attend the demand and with sustainability, and this is only possible with the use of technology and innovation. So I guess this is the last slide. Actually, the last one is an example of the practice that we normally use technology and innovation to, of course, scale when we think about Brazil as a continental area. So it's very important that we could replicate this kind of good practices that it's crop, livestock, and forest integration systems. We call here in Brazil the adaptation systems that combine a lot of kind of not only pastures but also agriculture at the same time in the same place, so we can increase productivity with sustainability. It's very important, and but it requires a lot of investment, which is one of the biggest challenges that we face here. So I guess that's it. Very quickly, so I'm gonna thank you, Natalia.
Thank you, Julian. I still think it's because I'm close to the speaker. You know, as an Abagi member myself, I would say, Juliana, the practices that you have at the association, they are so important for us being at the agribusiness when it's the agricultural sector in Brazil doesn't make a very good advertising for itself. And the practices that we have and how satisfied our farmers are, these should be seen by everyone. And look, you created a presentation. When you compare to the United States, for example, we have practices that are so, I would say, ahead on time, you know, that should be seen by everyone. And thank you for sharing. I have a question for you. Then I change to Leo, which is Brazilian agribusiness operate on a continental scale with remarkable diversity. How do you see AI concretely advancing sustainably across this landscape?
This is a great question. Thank you, Natalia. I guess I can divide the answer into three topics. The first one, we need to understand the impacts of the AI into the farmers' perspective. The second one is from the supply chain perspective, and the final one is from the consumer and sustainability. So when we think about the farmer's perspective, of course, innovation, AI tools are all important to, of course, increase productivity, but also reduce the cost of the production. So this is only possible when we think about the usage of precision agriculture or drones or solids, for example. It's a great example, actually, because it's the only way to provide the best information for the farmer so they can make the best decision. And of course, with all of those data, with all of this information, they can reduce the use of, for example, inputs, fertilizers, and of course, it's important to reduce the risk so they can take a little bit more credit with low interest. So this is very important for the farmer's perspective. The second one is, of course, the supply chain. Supply chain is here in Brazil. It's a big challenge because we do have some problems with infrastructure. Not only when we think about logistics, but also connectivity and etc. So we need to invest a little bit more in those kind of issues, so then we can use the best way possible those AI tools to, of course, provide the traceability for our food and products, but also we can reduce the cost by understanding which way is the best in order to get the products from the farmers' hands to the consumer's hands. And finally, from the consumer's perspective and sustainability, there's a study of Embrapa, I guess it's 2018, that shows that per farm being in soybean productions in the last 50 years, we can see an increased level of productivity without the use or without the expansion of the planted area, which is very important. And this is only possible because of the technology, because of the AI tools. And when you think about the consumer and sustainability, I guess that the consumers after the pandemic are demanding a little bit more of traceability, of course, sustainability from the products they are, of course, buying. because they are really worried about the world, the environment. So this is very important to understand that the only way possible to bring those kind of information with value behind the product is only going to be possible with the use of technology, guaranteeing traceability, sustainability, and etc. So I guess I could divide the answer into those three parts. Thank you.
No, thank you. Well, speaking of AI tools, I'd like to invite Leo to talk a little bit about Solinftec. I understand that when we talk about technology, Solinftec is at the forefront, and I'm talking about tools now, how to get to the farmer and actually bring practices to those farmers. Leo, if you could go through living in the field, a new concept. Okay, that's interesting. All yours.
Thank you, Natalia. It's a pleasure to be here with you all, guys. Congrats for your presentation. And Solinftec is a Brazilian company that was founded in 2007 in town sites of São Paulo. The name of the city is Araçatuba. Actually, we have around 1,000 employees working to make the technology efficient and helping the farmer to be more efficient and sustainable at the same time. I believe that when we talk about AI, all these tools that you are hearing about the markets, we are think that the farmer they need to understand that. And I believe this is the main concept of the company. We bring some technology that the farmers don't need to understand what piece of technology they are using. They are focused just in the see the benefits and the results. This transformation, we believe that's what on tech puts our energy and efforts. We want to have more expensively and more rich in the markets to put inside of our technology to provide this for farmers. Next, please. Talking about our footprint, Solinftec has 18 years old as a company in different parts of the world. We are sharing our knowledge, sharing our technology. For sure, we are in the middle of the conference and we talk about the climate, but I believe that it's impossible hard to talk about the climate without mentioning agriculture. And this is where we put our energy and understanding with our machines, our hectares, and our robots. That is one of our technology that we discussed today. Uh, these entire numbers, we create a big environment in the field. In this environment that we create in the field, we use hardwares, softwares, and cloud information that we can monitoring 100% what's happening in the field in real time. We believe that farmers they don't have time to take a decision in real time without technology, and this is where Solinftec is focusing. Grabbing information in real time using different parts of the technology. One of them that I'd like to share with you is the robot that's leading the field, as Natalia mentioned, is one technology that's constantly in the field, grabbing data and applying a chemical in the correct timing and as spot for application. This reduces drastically the amount of the chemical that the farmer is using. So with this technology, that's we change the concept of the farming to using chemical and using the machines. It's easy to see in the agriculture large machines, large amount of the chemical that are used, but this concept. Okay, now you are seeing the robot that is running the field. That is the best example to see how the robots can see, identify the problem, and make stop the application without a human. I believe this is the biggest part of this problem. So you can see the robot run like itself as autonomy with actually use oxygen, use solar panel and batteries, but this robot uses different sensors. We don't need people out here. They are constantly reviewing, understanding what's going on and make smart decisions. As a result of the state of management, we understand that we need something that is information to take to the field. If you guys look at 15 years of the information, we are seeing even less people in the fields or machine in the field. Normally, one sprayer passes one or two times per season in the field. So in this case, we have robots constantly get information, make some application, and make the farmer more efficient because we can reduce the machine, the labor, and as well we can reduce the chemical we use. I believe that all this technology that you have is following the Sustainable Development Goals for UN, not because of the hunger, but because of the environment as well. But I'd like to focus on the reductions because farming is just the one point of the line, and you need to make them more efficient, and you need to make them more profitable. And the only way to do this, as Juliana mentioned, is to understand that they need to be more, to have more access to this kind of the technology to make them more efficient. And technology need to be democratic. We don't need to put some technology for them that is expensive and the guys cannot afford to do this. And then the idea with Solid, this concept of technology is make technology for the guy who can buy this technology that they can make use this technology without have some interference with their daily lives and make them more efficient. When we mention about 10% more productivity, it is what we are discussing here. Make the same square meter of the arable land more efficient, producing more, and don't talk about the deforestation. Talking about to use the same arable land to make the farmer more efficient without destroy any part of the environment. And to do this, the only way that the farmer can do it is using technology. Not just this kind of technology, but using different kind of technology that can make them more efficient. And when you're talking about the autonomous and AI paradigm, it is the flow of the technology. I believe in our daily life, everybody here probably knows about the vacuum robots that's in your home that can clean your home. I believe that we are using to survive with autonomous equipment, autonomous devices. This is happening in agriculture as well. Right now, it's possible to care about the fields using some technology, using some robots that can constantly understand to see what's going on in the field. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Leo. I want to have one of those in my garden to see if that works. So, well, and I would say that we all have a challenge for all of us here, which is to produce more food. We're gonna have extra 2 billion people by 2050 without deforestation, right? Using the same arable land, and these types of technologies are the ones that will help us out. And I understand, Leo, that Solinftec often states that a sustainable food system is impossible without autonomy in the field operating 24/7. Why is that constant presence so essential for the transition we're talking about? The living in the field, why is it so important?
I believe that the answer is the agriculture is constantly changing. In the morning sun, in the night is raining, it's like Berlin. It's constantly raining, but after that you have a lot of heat wave. The agriculture is the same situation. When you see the seed, when you see the plant, day after day they change a lot. And if you are not in the field, getting the information, understanding what's going on, probably you don't take the better decision in these moments. And this is a new concept. I believe that agriculture in the last 100 years normally take some decision based on the calendar. You seeding, after 6 days you make some application, after 6 days it comes to harvest. I believe that you can change this kind of a concept because if you are constantly in the field, understand what's going on, you can take a better decision. The same situation happens in the past when you have a small piece of the land that you plant strawberries or you plant some onions in the backyard of your home. You always go to the field and clean as with your hood or with your hand, take it out of the patches. These practice, our old persons normally they did this. I believe that we are doing the same situation, the same practice, but in large scale. Because we know that if you are constantly there, understand, we can eliminate the possible weeds or possible insects that's going to reduce your productivity. So this is the concept, constantly watching what's going on.
All right, very interesting. And by the way, if you liked solids in here in the video, there's one of these at the Agri Zone all throughout COP. So you can see it over there. There's a unit, there's a team there to attend you, so you can see solids in person. Feel free to do so at the Agri Zone, at the Embrapas farm. All right, welcome. I am very happy to have you here this morning. And oh, there you go. Well, I'll give you some time to talk about Awaken, which I myself have heard about it yesterday, and I fell in love with it. Well, feel free. Thank you. I will just focus on the AI, which is the topic of our discussion. So we are the climate deep tech company based in Peru, with a headquarters in the Amazon rainforest. So for the past 5 years, I'm basically living in the Amazon rainforest. Everything we are piloting, we are doing together with the UNAP, which is University of Amazonia Peruana, and yeah, which is the main leading scientific institutions in Peruvian Amazon. So basically, the next slide, please. Regarding the artificial intelligence, okay, our goal is to make nature investable. That's why we're looking for the ways how to apply the modern technologies like artificial intelligence, IoT sensor networks, blockchain to reach this goal. Next year, we're launching the pilot of 420,000 hectares of Amazon rainforest together with the Ministry of Environment of Peru to pilot the digital MRV model and the smart contract blockchain execution of different types of the credits. So what we're doing, I would like to pass basically for this, we are building the multi-modal ecological AI system as the combination of the sensor network, of the digital twin simulations and language interfaces that allows ecosystem to speak in the real time. So what basically we are doing, when we're talking about the AI, the first thing you have to do, you have to build your data mode. So the first thing we are doing, we're building our own data mode, which has the network of the on-ground sensors, and I will talk which one, but this network of the on-ground sensors is also combined with the governmental data sets. So basically, we have the deal with the Ministry of Environment of Peru that we can use the governmental ecological data, which was collected within the last 20 years, to connect it with our on-ground sensor network data. And we're integrating all of this with NVIDIA and NASA, digital twins of the Earth that they are building. Basically, they have their own AI for climate modeling and for the forest fire protection. Why it's so important for NVIDIA and for NASA both? Because they're using the satellite data, the very high resolution satellite data up to 50 centimeters, you can see everything on the ground, but they cannot properly train their AI models without the on-ground data and without the historical data sets. So this is the collaboration that we'll do with NASA and NVIDIA. The result of this collaboration will be that we will create the most precise digital twin of the ecosystem. But before I explain you how it works and what consequences it will have, I want to go to the AI protocols and how exactly we will collect the data from the ground. So we will use the CR. It's basically the Eddy Cube towers. Why we have to use this is extremely expensive, guys. So one tower, the median price is about $5 million at least. Because it's the 50-60 meters tower that is inside the Amazon, which is equipped by the different on-ground, underground, different levels or sensors. But only with this kind of equipment, we are able to measure 1,500 parameters of the ecosystem in the real time. So all this data will be coming from the satellite data and from the Flux towers. And I will show you after why it's so important, because for today, for your understanding, because someone doesn't understand what is 1,500, it is a lot, it's a little. For example, today, in the most advanced countries, the governments can gather only from 40 to 50 parameters of the ecosystem. And the frequency is about once a year. So here we're able to gather 1,500 instead of 50 and in real time. So this is the huge difference for the whole nature-based finances and solutions. Okay, so except of the PoliceNets, except of the Flux towers, we will use the most advanced, the next slide, please. the most advanced and the new generation of LiDAR scanning. So basically, we will use the drones which are produced in Ukraine, which are adapted for the civil usage from the war usage. And why it's so important? Because within the last 2 years, unfortunately, of the war, but we advanced so much. I'm Ukrainian by origin, but I'm operating in Peru. But I know about this. But we advanced so much in the drones technologies that those drones can fly 48 hours without recharging and 2,500 kilometers per day. And those drones are able to integrate simultaneously the data from the on-ground sensors, satellites, so they can integrate in one picture data from more than 20 sources, which is also crucially important for us. And we are using the Hexagon, which is the Swiss company, because they have the most advanced models for the forest scanning. On this picture B, for example, you are seeing not the photos of the forest, you are seeing the actual scanning from the drone, and this information is updated every 24 hours. So our goal is that you can enter the forest like in the VR game. You are sitting in the land and you are investing in the rainforest, and then you can enter your rainforest and see what's happening in real time. If there's heavy rain and the level of water increases, you will see it in your digital twin model. So basically, with this technology, you can still see the little pixeled image, but this is amazing how precise this image can be. And the size of the image, you can see each tree in the forest from 50 centimeters and more, and you can see exactly the parameters of humidity, of health of this tree, and all of the other parameters of the ecosystem health. Besides, we do need to use the LiDAR scanning to be able to identify the type of the ecosystem, which is crucially important for the AI models, because to be able to evaluate the ecosystem, for example, the Flux Tower, you will collect data from 1 hectare, no more. But to be able to replicate this data, you have to identify the identical ecosystems. So it's only possible with the LiDAR scanning. Basically, with the scanning with the LiDAR, Amazon rainforest, for example, has 36 subsystems, ecological subsystems. So we will install the Flux towers in each of the subsystems, and then we will train our AI models to identify those subsystems, and then we will replicate the data. And in this way, we will reach very cheap evaluation of the ecosystem, according to the ECEA accounting, which is United Nations standard for the ecosystem evaluation. So the next, what technologies we will use, it's eDNA. Basically, it's electronic DNA. I give you the example. Now, to identify the biodiversity in the forest, you have to install either camera traps, or you have to go physically in the forest to make the picture of the animals. With the eDNA sampling, which is the methodology which is used for the last 2 years only, so it's pretty new, you'll be able to make the small sample of the water, like this. And with this water sample, we'll be able to identify the biodiversity from bacteria to large species, all biodiversity in this territory. It is not only identifying the biodiversity, but imagine how much new species we will discover. Even today, in the Amazon rainforest, they discover 1 new species per day. So I can imagine how advanced it will be with this methodology. But then comes the challenges. So I'll ask to pass to the next slide. Okay, the biggest challenge here is to build the AI libraries. We are suffering with this within the last 2 years. We have our own R&D base in the Amazon rainforest, and we are working with the leading universities and libraries. So basically, for example, we are building the AI library for plant identification. In Amazon rainforest, we have 2,500 species, types of the trees. The big species, the big family groups, not the smaller ones, smaller is bigger. So to be able to build the AI library, we need to do the drone scanning, then we need to fix the GPS coordinates. Then the on-ground team has to go to this tree specifically to measure this tree, to identify this tree, and to do the eDNA barcoding of this tree. So one team of scientists is able to identify 500 species per year. And so this is how time-consuming this process. Then, for example, we have to do the eDNA barcoding, because if you do the eDNA sampling, everything you will get is just the formula. You get the long formula, and you have to decipherate this. And this decipheration doesn't exist. So basically, we have the methodology how to identify which exactly bacteria or species belongs to this eDNA code. So this is also very time-consuming. We have our own advanced methodologies for this, but this is what we have to do. And just to wrap this session, I'm sorry, can you? Yeah, so this is, for example, I was giving you we are working with the Ministry of Environment of Peru, and they have 5 governmental databases where they were collecting the ecological data, but using just the satellite image and manual methodologies. So they're able to gather only like 30, 15, 20 parameters instead of 1,500 I was telling you we are able to do. And one of the last very huge results of this work was this scenario modeling, which is crucial for any natural-based finances, because using these scenarios, we'll be able to predict how the ecosystems will behave in the next 5, 10, 30 years. So we'll be not guessing anymore. We can issue the resilience credits, we can issue the carbon or biodiversity ex ante credit, ex post credits. We don't have a problem anymore how to do the scenario building for the carbon projects. So it solves the whole bunch of problems that we are having. And totally to finish, we have one special department, which is my favorite in our company, which is developing what we are calling BION. It's biointelligence of the nature. Basically, what we are doing, we are building the artificial intelligence created not by humans, but by the nature itself. We are using the network of the small metabolic sensors. And just to understand, if you're building the AI, for example, when the humans are building the AI, if we want to describe the tree, we will upload the picture of the tree, we'll put some parameters of this tree that we understand to train the AI model. When the nature itself is training the AI model, the nature itself would collect the information from the metabolic sensors near this tree, and they will say, okay, what kind of sounds of the birds we're hearing near this tree, how the humidity is changing, how much of sun is having this tree. So by these parameters, the artificial intelligence will learn how to identify the tree. And the last thing we want to do here, I can talk about this for a long time, but the last thing we want to do here is to give the sensation of the artificial intelligence, what is the best of the nature. So basically, if the ecosystem or the tree is dying due to the small metabolic sensors, the artificial intelligence, which is getting the energy from those sensors, is dying also. So we want to see, and this is our big experiment, how the AI will behave if it will experience the death of the nature through death of itself. So this is kind of big experiment we will be conducting the next 3 years, talking about the AI of nature. Thanks a lot. Sorry, I took a little bit too much time, but I'm
right? And listening from you guys and understanding your work, that's paramount for us. So you can take your time. You're fine. Thank you for putting eyes in forests. I mean, once we get to see what is out there, is when we actually get to understand what best practices are out there. And the same way that we're putting eyes in the field with the crops, it's important to have eyes also in the forest, right? So we can get data and actually get standard information so we can train our AI models, right? And that takes me to my question. Institutional capital is increasingly looking at nature credits. We talked about that in our panel yesterday at the Resilience Hub. But the market still lacks trust and standardization, which is part of our conversation, because they don't know what's happening out there, not in the crops, not in the forest. What role can AI play in building transparent and reliable infrastructure for biodiversity measurement and credit generation? So how can we help also credit generators, banks, investors to have reliability on the information that we are providing, being from the forest, being from the crops?
Thanks. I will try to answer very fast. I wouldn't talk just about AI. I would talk about all technologies we can use, because it's AI, blockchain, IoT, big data, and quantum computing in the future. We're not able to process that much information without quantum computing. We are already working with this with the media also. But basically, I think that without those technologies, natural finance markets will not survive in the future. It's just impossible. It will lose totally credibility. Why? Because look, even the carbon credits. When we are talking about issuing the carbon credits, we need to do the scenario building. Now we are doing this manually, using some satellite data, maybe some manual historical data.
with the AI modeling and scenario predicting, we are not guessing anymore. We know exactly, which gives a huge credibility. Okay, then the next problem about the carbon credits, it's the traceability and the registry. So when we use the blockchain-based registry, we don't have the double or sales of the carbon credits. We can apply Article 6. We can integrate all those data and blockchain registries with the governmental, so no problem anymore. Then the other solution we are building, for example, is full life cycle management of the credits on the blockchain. So it starts from the credits generation, the real-time credits generation, and then, for example, if the fire happens, the forest burns, then those credits are liquidated. So we don't have any unreliable credits on the market. Everything that is bought or sold on the market is data proven. So there is no way to use trust in this because it's all with the numbers, it's all proven, it's all traced, it's all measured. So without this, I don't see the market being able to do it. We will survive a couple of years, we will have more scandals, we will lose more trust, and then I think that it will be over for the market, at least the moment.
On the same idea, I'd like to ask a question that goes to all of you now. And considering, I mean, not only reliability for credit markets, but also infrastructure for us to, or for farmers or for people to be able to adopt the technologies that we are talking about here. To scale nature-based solutions supported by AI, we need radical collaboration, right? That's why we have Bobby here, one of the collaborators for all this to happen. So collaboration that will go across agribusinesses, farmers, tech innovators, and regulators, so on. What do each of you see as the biggest challenge today, and what partnership model could realistically overcome it? So what are the partnerships that we should all take here to make this real, accessible to farmers, or, well, not only, right, in terms of ports?
So I'm going to start. Well, I guess that we can answer that question is very important because here in Brazil, we do have some challenges related to the offering of those technologies, but also the demand for these technologies. So it's important to kind of show both of them in order to actually we do have some efficiency, not only to the farmers, but also tech companies and the agriculture sector as its whole. The first one, when you think about the offer, we are talking about, again, infrastructure. So we need to have connectivity in the field. I know that South probably doesn't need the connectivity, more or less, I guess. But it's important to have those kind of infrastructure, especially when you think about the rural environment. Here in Brazil, I guess a little bit more of 30% of the rural properties actually have connectivity, which is a very important challenge because another way we wouldn't be able to use those AI tools or the technology innovation in the field. It requires, of course, a high level of investment. When you think about the initial investment, of course, it's going to pay off with the time. But normally, small farmers and medium farmers, they don't have access to a low interest credit, as I said, and doesn't have credit when you're thinking about the private banking. So we need to offer them public policies to get those credits and actually invest in those AI tools and in infrastructure and innovation. So then they will be able to use the best way possible those kind of tools to improve their productivity, reduce the costs, of course, develop their business. The second one is, of course, the demand for AI tools for innovation. What I'm saying here is that we need to guarantee the capability of the farmers and the people in the field to use those kind of technologies the best way possible. This is very important. We need to partner, for example, as a bank, we need to partner with cooperatives, with SANAR. It's a very important institution here to now transfer to the farmers in order to then understand exactly what they need to do and what's the best usage of those technologies. Because if we don't do that, the technology will be there for them, but I mean, it's not going to be worth it it's not going to be used. So it's not, I don't think it's going to have a real impact on the field if we don't do that. So about last year, we developed a document focused on those kind of investments. So we need to understand how can the municipal government, state government, and federal government can improve the infrastructure on the field, and also kind of give those kind of digital education to the farmers, so then they can actually use those technologies in their favor. So I guess for the beginning of the answer, this will be what I was going to say. Thank you.
I can split your question into two sides. One is technology and another one is investment. I believe when we talk about technology, we can focus a company that would like to provide a service for farmers, partnering with some educational institution, because this can validate the technology and accelerating the tractions to go to the market. I believe this part of the partner is nice because we can make this process flow fast. And when you talk about technology, I believe that the major part of the technology company that's like to provide some service for agriculture, normally they fail because they are providing just reports and not savings, not providing real money or saving sometimes. In this case, I believe that public policy or money for private markets can make them more focused on solve the real problems and developing the real technology for the farmer. These parts of the investments, we can understand that even the company that would like to provide technology, but the user as well, they need to have access to buy this technology with their own money or some public policy, for example, to get in this technology. Because of that, I like to split in two different parts because not just focus on the provider of technology, but the user of technology as well. Make the technology faster, developing fast, and providing the results fast as well. But at the same time, making the companies they can understand the real problem and getting money to make this technology very fast.
Before you speak, okay, maybe to make a quick comment. This link that you made, Leo, is important because the private sector alone does a lot, but not everything, right? So technology companies are bringing new technologies out there, being released and renewed constantly. But if you don't link public policy with the farmer, for example, things are not going to get there as fast as they should. So if public policies run the same speed as the private sector, I would say that this is the perfect scenario, right? So if we had advancements on, I would say, credit to farmers coming from public policies that would run as quick as advancements that we have in the private sector, that would be the perfect scenario. Considering that farmers need that, so they are actually able to follow the same speed. Otherwise, their practices become old, not because they want to, but because they don't know how to get there. They don't have the support to do that. So the private sector cannot do things alone. We do a lot, but still.
An example of this is carbon markets. Because of that the farmers they don't care about the carbon markets because at the end of the day they do it on close. So they don't put a lot of effort because they isn't incentivized to make different practices to make their accounts better at the end of the day. So if you don't have public policy following the same structure of the private market, you can make it happen.
Exactly. That's what they do for a living, right? They have to make it work. Olga, please.
I just want to catch up at your points because I have the same opinion. If we talk about development and adaptation of those technologies, which are the market of tomorrow, private sector by itself is not able to do it. It's impossible, even with the best intention. So we do need institutional support, and this is my key message to talk that I am having here. So our income is from the carbon markets. So let's spend at least 1% of this money to reinvest in science, in AI, in digital and marine, in IoT. So let's invest 1% of the market today of creating the market of tomorrow. If not, well, we will be not able to survive. This is just my key message. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining the session and for participating and being a speaker here. This dialogue should continue, right? Not only for the COPs, but also everywhere we go. Thank you all for coming and sharing all your knowledge, all your businesses, what you're doing. And well, thank you. I'll see you next time, hopefully soon.